Welcome, everybody, to the Fandom Nights podcast, where we break down pop culture one fandom at a time. I'm Chris.
I'm Sherman.
And Dustin is not here today. He might be coming actually halfway through this, so we'll find out.
mid video.
Yeah, exactly. Today we're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Book one.
Chapter. You gotta do it from now on.
Book 1, chapter, what is this, 12?
16.
Chapter 16. Wow. Chepisode 16.
Chepisode 16, exactly.
The Deserter.
Mm-hmm. This was released on October 21st of 2005 and got an 8.5 rating on IMDb, which maybe we should start doing that afterwards.
Right?
Yeah.
Just say the rating afterwards?
Yeah, afterwards. After maybe we rate it.
See, that's what I was saying. Like, because normally I don't look at the rating until afterwards. Like, after I watch it, but...
Yeah. Okay. So Dustin's not here to take us through the story, so we're gonna fumble through it together. I have really scattered.
Oh my gosh!
I'm sure you had a really nice one.
Have you seen the way Dustin does his?
Yeah, he writes a story.
Yeah, no, mine looked just like one of Dustin's.
I take
except I had my own little hidden notes in there, which I think he does too. But I just can't believe it just got deleted.
Gosh. So you typed the whole synopsis?
I typed this huge synopsis.
Yeah. And then you just... what did you type it up on?
On, my phone's notepad.
Oh, okay.
And then it just deleted.
And it's just gone.
It's just gone.
You can't find
like a memo
anywhere?
pad?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's what Dustin
I went through my SD card, my internal storage. I went through everything. I'm like, where the heck did this thing go?
I don't know. Yeah. All right, well, we start the episode with Momo up in a tree, and he flies down, and I'll kind of take us through it, and then you...
No, I literally watched it last night.
Okay, good. I did too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We were probably watching it at the same time because it just came over, but whatever.
Hey, I didn't
know. The gang sees a wanted poster.
Well, because they see... they don't see the wanted poster quite yet. They see the middle of the woods directory, which I thought was kind of way out of place.
I mean, it's in parks and nature trails.
It's more of the fact that it looks like it's at a crossroads, which is the important part, because she's like, oh, maybe this can help us find something to, find out what's around here. And then Sokka's like, oh, maybe it can show us the menu.
I thought she said, oh, look at this. And Sokka's like, what is it, a menu? Or maybe not.
Something like that.
Yeah. But Sokka's hungry, as usual, so...
But Aang sees the Fire Day Festival poster.
Okay. I couldn't remember what it was called. I didn't rewind it. I was like, oh, Fire Nation Festival?
Oh, dude, I kept rewinding this episode so much.
Yeah.
I know he's not here, but major props to, our buddy Dustin. He puts so much work into those synopses.
He does.
But, yeah, he sees the Fire Day Festival, and he's, super excited because he's like, oh, man, I might be able to, actually see some real firebending and learn.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this episode.
It's weird.
It goes from one thing to the next. It's almost like watching a movie.
So fast.
Yeah.
And then he sees the wanted. Sokka points out the wanted posters with Aang's actual face and I think it's just Aang's picture though.
I think it's just Aang's picture.
Yeah.
In the background, you can see Zhang and.
Which at the time is just some random dude who doesn't look like anybody you've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I thought was kind of weird because the first time I watched through this, I was totally expecting them to zoom in on the Blue Spirit wanted poster underneath.
That's who it was. Zhang and then the Blue Spirit one.
Yeah, and Che, which you meet later on.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Because the guy who helped, or we'll get to that. But there's a wanted poster of the other random dude who
he's
nobody likes.
Really? They leave him.
Yeah, right.
Okay, well that's cool. Yeah, Aang's like, I gotta watch a master at some point, and this might be my only chance to at least see them. He doesn't even think he's gonna learn from them, really, or interact with them. He just thinks at least I can watch them, so then at some point I can learn firebending.
And then Katara's like, I mean, I guess, we could do that.
The first time I watched through this series, this was the first time...
when you were a kid?
Or
a teenager?
I was a teenager, yeah. The first time I watched him, this is the first moment I realized, whoa, yeah, he's going to have to learn firebending at some point. Who's he going to learn from?
Right?
I in my head I'm like, okay, yes, do water. Like I was just very methodical, and I just wasn't thinking ahead, I guess, when I'm watching it. But yeah, what would you do? And so this episode answers that.
But Katara's like, no, like that makes sense. So like, I guess we could. And Sokka's just like, what? Are you kidding? He's so not ready for this.
We're gonna walk right into the Fire Nation.
Oh no, yeah, this is a great plan.
So then they go to the city, and then Aang tells Momo and Appa to hide. Momo jumps into a bush.
The disguise portion was so priceless.
Momo hides in a bush. Appa hides behind the tiny little bush.
And Aang literally just puts his shirt like over the top of his head. He
cornholios himself. And that's all I can think. Cornholio.
Oh man. You know what? Can't believe that didn't even pop into my head once.
The whole time.
I should
have gone like this.
Terrible.
I know.
So yeah, then they just walk right into the Fire Nation, which I think they're technically still in the Earth Kingdom, so this has to be a colony.
Oh.
Like a Fire Nation colony.
Must be.
Yeah. But
then they go in. Then they're ready to their disguises. Then they're like, oh, everyone's wearing masks. It's a masquerade thing.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, then they're like, where are we going to get masks? And the guy's like, masks for sale.
Which is just such a corny point of writing.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you'd, like, the exact moment you see, like, oh, where are we going to find these masks? Like, there's no way that would happen in real life.
You'd think that they wouldn't even ask that. They would just see the masks like, oh, okay, let's go get one.
Right.
So Aang's mask, I don't know. It to me looked like a blue spirit mask, but like a happy version of it. I'm wondering if that has something to do with anything. So,
kind of.
I don't know. It was just interesting to me.
I like how Aang first had the sad one on his face, and then Katara's like, nope. I'm gonna switch these around. Yeah. That's better.
I know. Then they go.
They're looking for something to eat. For Sokka.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, because he gets the flaming hot fire.
Oh, that's right. I didn't. Yeah. Flaming hot fire flakes, or yeah.
Could you imagine, like, just eating a handful of something you've never had before?
People in the Fire Nation are just all about anything hot. I mean, do you think that's?
Well, I think it's more the fact that because it's a Fire Day festival.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like you'd have like spicy food.
Yeah.
Especially for like snacks.
Yeah, well, makes sense. So then they see a stage show going on with some magic tricks, which you don't know are magic tricks at this point.
The funny part is you actually so first off, you get the puppet show of like the fire, like a puppet version of the Fire Lord trying to like, and then like an Earth Kingdom soldier just like pops up and he's like, oh no,
yeah. The
firebending just right out of the puppet's mouth was just so.
I got serious Shrek vibes from this. And so I did count that puppet breathing fire as,
you counted it as fire
bending.
Okay.
Yes. Because
fire breathing.
Because where else are they gonna get a like why would anyone in the Fire Nation have like a blowtorch that they're shooting? Why not just firebend and do it? It just seemed logical to me, so I counted that as one of the firebending, but we'll get to that at the end because there's a lot of confusion on this episode. No, there's a couple different counts that
actually makes me think though. Like besides, like you don't really see anybody like actual blowtorches, except for you see I think one in the next episode. Yeah. But like, which baffles me. You'd think the Fire Nation would want like all of their like non-bending soldiers to have fire too.
Yeah, I don't know. So then they see magic tricks going on, and then the magician's like, well, I need a volunteer from the audience.
Specifically called Taming the Dragon.
Is that a significance?
No, that's what he calls the trick. He's like...
Right, yeah.
Aang's just super excited. He's like, I want to do this!
Yeah, I want to go. I got to see him up close or whatever. Even though they're in the front row.
I know.
Okay, you got to get closer or whatever. And then he's raising his hand, and then Sokka tells him not to, and then the guy calls on Katara. So they're all involved in the story.
Well, I mean, I think the thing about that is I think a lot of magicians in general are going to choose, some pretty young face in the crowd for like a showmanship.
Well, you can't see your face
side of things,
but
yeah.
I mean, you can see her water tribe robes through her thing. So maybe he saw that she was water tribe, so he's just trying to incorporate everybody. Like, he's a showman. We're all love and peace around here, man. Yeah. So then...
Which, I don't know if you noticed, by the way. So the guy on the stage performing the tricks and the guy who voiced the Fire Lord puppet, same voice actor.
Oh, I did not notice that.
Okay. Scott Melville, the same guy who does Robin from Teen Titans.
Oh, the same guy?
Same guy.
Wow, he
shows up so many times in this whole show.
I actually clicked on a couple of the actors who are just in this episode, and I'm like, man, they're in a lot of stuff, but just obscure, like, random voice number 3 in Ultimate Spider-Man the video game, or you're like just all over the place. Like, okay, well, you're a successful voice actor, but I have no idea what you've done your whole life.
Right.
So then the taming the dragon trick goes off, which again was kind of hard counting the firebending. He firebent to make it, and then he did it again to do the lasso. I didn't count the whole time he's going around because it's all one time. But yeah, anyways, then the dragon's coming right at Katara, and Aang freaks out, even though, I mean, it's a magic trick, but whatever.
Not only that, but like, you'd think he would be able to tell,
right?
Like,
yeah, but I don't know. So he jumps up there to save her. Shoots a bunch of wind, and everyone's like, whoa, you trying to upstage me, kid?
Also, where did the confetti come from?
Yeah.
Because, like...
It was in the dragon somehow, or what the heck?
I have no idea, man. Like...
Yeah, I know, that made me think, like, maybe he's not firebending or something weird like that. Maybe it is just a mat, but...
You'd have to firebend to, like, control it like that, though.
Right.
But, of course, the one guy in the crowd's like, hey, that kid's the Avatar!
And then all the soldiers are like, what? Avatar.
Once again, non-bending soldiers.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah.
No masks.
They're all no masks, and they're carrying spears, so you know that they're not firebenders. And then later on in the episode, we'll get to it, but
hold on. So I gotta ask: Do you think Aang or like Team Avatar gets cocky when they see like Fire Nation soldiers without masks on?
Well, maybe that's the whole. Maybe that's the whole point of the festivals. They're all wearing masks, so they're all like pretending to be the firebending superheroes of their culture.
Oh, maybe. Because, the only people you see who are, like, realistically, the only person you see bending is the guy on stage.
Right.
Like, you don't see the guy behind the puppet.
Yeah, right.
And he's not wearing a mask.
Interesting. I don't know. So then they all go to attack the Avatar, and then some random dude behind the stage says, oh, follow me. We've seen him a little bit here and there.
He looks like your stereotypical rogue, though.
Yeah.
Like, in any, like... video game.
At first I thought it was Jet again, because it's been a while since I've seen the episode, so I'm like, oh, it looks like Jet, but then he had like such distinct eye lines. I'm like, they wouldn't have done that to Jet, so it's got to be some other dude. And then 2 seconds later, after I had that thought, he pulls his hood off, and I'm like, oh, it's not him.
No, this is Che, the guy who had the other wanted poster,
which I really liked him. I mean, I still like him even after the episode's over, but I feel bad for him a little bit.
He seemed like such a misfit.
He's not as cool in the beginning. He's like, follow me, and he's just like this rogue dude, and then he just becomes less and less cool as the show goes. He's like, he's the outcast.
He's the dorky guy that nobody wants, like, in the group.
Yeah. It's like you meet a really cool person, and you're like, wow, you're such a cool person, and then you meet all his friends, and you're like, you're the dork in this group. Okay.
Yeah, right. So he leads them to, of course, a dead end, because that has to happen.
Yeah, right.
And then, I love that when, because while they're running, Aang's like, I need to call Appa, and then pulls out that one little whistle that he finally gets to use.
Is this the first time he's used this?
Yeah, because Sokka...
He used it before when he first got it.
Yeah, but Sokka literally is running behind. He's like, man, I really hope that Appa can actually hear that thing.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And then they escape, and they throw a bunch of fireballs on top of a bunch of fireworks, and all the fireworks go off, and it's a big spectacle. Yeah. Then they go into... Is this where they go around the fire or whatever?
They're chilling at the fire.
Yeah, they're talking about John.
Che is telling them about... he's like, I work with a guy, more of like a legend, really. And I'm like... Yeah. All right, okay. Some random...
I love how he describes himself, though. He's like, it's John the deserter. He was a general or an admiral or whatever in the Fire Nation army. and I deserted right after him. I was the second, but no one really cares about that.
Nobody gets famous for being the second.
Yeah.
All right, like, then why'd you mention it?
Fair enough, I guess. He's trying to be. He's still. He knows he's not going to be famous.
Give me some credit,
he's still
man.
Trying.
I did the same thing.
Right. And second, yeah. So he was the first deserter. Then they get captured again by a whole bunch of people.
The ambush, man, that kind of took me by surprise. Like the first time I ever watched this. I should be
counting how many times the Avatar gets captured. That would be like it would be astronomical at this point. He gets captured all the time.
End of the season, we gotta have like a season 1 captures.
Yeah, how many times he gets captured
is now like so we should do like is it just the Avatar? Just because like
just Aang, I guess.
So here's my question: do you count episode 2 where he gives himself up so that the water tribe?
Oh yeah, he's captured at that point. Yeah.
I mean, just clarification.
Yeah,
but
well, he's never actually. He's like Superman in Batman v Superman or whatever. In Man of Steel, Superman and Man of Steel, where he has the handcuffs on. That makes them feel better. That's how Aang is. Whenever Aang is captured, it makes them feel better if I'm stuck in chains.
Right.
It's and then we find out as they're walking that it's Che's friends, and that this is where you realize, Che's not the greatest guy.
Oh yeah, Lin Yi. I've known this guy for forever.
Keep it moving, or whatever he says.
We're best buds.
Yeah, and then it shows. I just put Admiral Zhao on the trail because he's on.
How
the
did
trail.
you say that?
Admiral Zhao.
There you go.
Zhao. I didn't know how to spell it, so I kept putting JOW.
It's ZHAO.
Oh, okay. Let's make a note of that. ZHAO. Zhao. Got it. This is the guy who likes Chinese.
I know. That's what gets me the most.
I think this is when Admiral Zhao goes to the city and the troops are like, oh yeah, they did escape, but the show went off without a hitch. The crime rate was down. We didn't have any thefts. I don't care about.
I legitimately just for that whole like little thing, all I did was type the note was like, oh, Zhao's on the track for the Avatar again.
Yeah, that's why I put Admiral Zhao's on the trail. I like how he did the same thing.
And then he just storms off.
Mm-hmm. Then Aang gets to the whole gang gets to the camp,
which I thought was cool because it's like the way that they have it look is like almost like a World War II army barrack. Like the way that like his tent looks almost.
Yeah. It does. I mean, he was in the army. He's used to being in the army. So,
but I just like the fact that like it looked exactly like an old like real world army barrack. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, that's kind of. But of course, it's on the bank in a swamp.
Yeah, over the water and which is kind of cool. He's like so not scared, respectful, I guess, of his power that he chooses to be surrounded by water. Like even later when he's
like
talking
reverent
to Qatar,
of it,
right? When he's talking to Qatar, he's like, "I wish that I had water instead of this curse." Like
I know.
I didn't think about that, but he like lives next to a river for a reason. Like he wishes he could be that person, but. So instead, he gets as close as he can to it to protect everyone around him from the power that he feels he has.
Zhang makes me think like he's exactly what Iroh would be if Iroh didn't have a sense of humor. Like he's so serious.
He's so serious, yeah. But he's also so powerful. Iroh is powerful to a point, but he doesn't care. He doesn't care about making himself more powerful. He's just. Yeah, I'm a bender.
Well, Zhang doesn't either. Like he knows he's mastered the element, which realistically, like he goes more towards discipline versus like the spiritual side of things, like Iroh does.
Yeah. If we just had to learn from Zhang, I would be very depressed about any firebenders or Fire Nation stuff because later on, when he we'll get to it, but when he talks about the nature of firebending. It's
my goodness, right?
That's crazy.
This whole episode is just deep.
So then they get to the camp, and the master will not see him.
Oh yeah, because Che has to go in and talk to him, and then when he comes out, he's like, "No, you guys have to leave." Jung like won't teach you. He says you're not ready yet.
It's like we came all the way here.
Like,
okay.
First off, I would have been more like upset about the fact that like, okay, well, you guys brought us here, but you won't talk to us. Like, he won't talk to us. Like, why'd you even bring us here in the first place?
Yeah. Wonder why they did. Well, I suppose he wanted to see the Avatar, but he saw the Avatar when he was first coming into town, and that's how he knew that he didn't have discipline or didn't have the elements mastered. But yeah,
no, it's because when he was walking into camp.
Oh, when he was walking to the camp?
Into the camp, yeah.
Okay, I thought when he was walking.
He's like, he could tell just when you walked in, like you weren't ready yet.
Yeah, you hadn't mastered water or earth, which he can tell by just how you're walking, which kind of makes sense because you learn to move your body differently if you master these other elements. Which is another cool thing about this show. If you look at Aang in the first episode and then Aang in the last episode, like he slowly grows up. In the animation.
No, I know.
It's
like
whoa.
You see him like walking more firmly.
Usually
like, towards the end.
Yeah,
and he's like super limp right now, and he's just like, yeah, what's up? Well,
yeah, he's just free flowing and whatever. And then near the end, he gets more and more Avatar like.
Well, I think the part that like puts him there as well, not just like learning the different elements, but like he's almost died so many times too.
He's going through puberty.
Within
but he
a
does
year,
grow up. Like it's just cool to see the difference.
Within like the 1 year, that they're doing stuff.
It's like the most intense year ever. So
no childhood for you.
He says that you don't have discipline. You haven't mastered the other elements yet, so you need to go along this progression. You can't learn firebending first before all this other stuff. And later on we see why. But so then Zhang is talking to Aang, and then all of a sudden he gets like a flash, and it's Roku, and Roku says, no, you need to show him, you need to train him. I've mastered elements thousands of times in 1,000 different bodies and all this stuff. He can learn it or whatever. Show him a little bit. I don't know.
Like the whole concept of like reincarnation mixed in with this is like, but like keeping it in the present baffles me because like there's like the creators were so in depth with what they wanted to do for this show, because like you get a sense of like, all right, well, anytime he goes into the Avatar state, he has all the knowledge and like skills that like he can access like from every like previous life he's had, but he still has to master it every time he comes back.
Right.
Like,
'cause you still have your own free will. You're still your own person. You're your own person. So and you can't rely like we haven't found this out yet, but you can't rely on the Avatar state. You have the power to do all these things, but you have to master them to like bring everyone together. And you can't always be in the Avatar state, because if you were, then the Avatar might end.
Well, not just that, but I think it's also like you can't rely on just yourself, because like they deal with the whole concept of like, so he has all the previous knowledge of every Avatar, right? And like later on in the series, he's able to like commune with each with previous avatars. Yeah, but like he can't learn from himself, essentially.
Yeah, it's weird that you can't learn from yourself. You think you would be if you'd be able to talk to your old people, because they're masters of that element.
Right.
Maybe that's why they're always such short little encounters. Maybe there's like a time limit on how long he can talk to himself or something,
Maybe.
Like during the solstice, like he could only talk to Roku for that short little bit of time.
Yeah.
And I don't think he ever really communicates with his past avatars much.
No, because
other people talk with the past avatar through him, but not. And
like later on in the third season, you see him like where he gets to like sit and talk with like past avatars, where he's literally just meditating. But it's almost like you get like one or two questions out of him, and that's it.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that a little bit more. It's
right?
Interesting. Because why wouldn't you be able to just meditate and learn from yourself? But it's like they won't teach you, but why won't they teach you? Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, Roku tells him to train. Then Zhang starts training him, but he trains him by having him put his legs really wide and then just breathing, because fire bending is all about breathing. It's all about breathing. So then Aang wants to talk, and then Zhang Zhang says, "Be quiet, like your friends over here. Even this oaf who's fishing knows to be quiet." He's like, "Hey!" He's talking about Sokka the whole time. And I don't know what he says, but he tells him to be quiet again. And then Sokka and Katara are just laughing at him. Then it cuts to them going up a mountain.
Man.
Up away from everything. And Aang's like, "Oh, are we coming up this mountain so I can firebend and not burn anything?" And he's like, "No.
Burn anything with my fire blast?"
Yeah, my fire blast. He just thinks of it as like a superpower.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be cool."
Yeah. Then
no fire yet.
No fire yet. You need to learn to breathe. The sun is the biggest, I don't know, source of your power and stuff like that. And you need to stand here and just breathe. And so he puts his legs apart, and without even looking, he's like, "Wider, but you're not even wider."
Well, because this is also the part where like Zhang Zhang tells him like real fire comes, and this is another callback to like an Iroh being another like actual like master of firebending, because like in episode 1 when he's trying to teach Zuko, like Zuko's like, "No, you need to teach me in more advanced stuff." He's like, "Well," so he's like, "You're not getting this. Like, fire comes from like your breath. Like that is the source of your fire."
Yeah.
And like you get this again from another super old,
right.
master.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I love the consistency of the rules of the universe.
Right?
It's like sometimes it's like, "Oh, that wasn't believable because of whatever. Oh, none of it's believable because it's a kid's show." But it's like, no, you got to stay consistent with your rules within your universe, and they stay very consistent. So then he tells him
not only that, but like you get like the actual like, you realize that like without these specific disciplines that like you're never going to become an actual master. Like the
right.
masters of these things are like, "No, this is how you do this." Like it's a pre-set plan. Like we know what we're doing.
Right. Yeah.
Listen to your teachers, kids.
So he tells Aang to just breathe, and then it just cuts to Zhang Zhang's tent, and he's sitting inside his ring of candles, and Aang just comes in. "I didn't tell you to stop," or whatever. And Aang's like, "I've been up there for hours." Yeah. And he's like, "You need to learn discipline." He's like, "No, I know how to squat. I know how to breathe. I need to learn to make fire from my hands, or from my fingertips," or however he says it. And then...
I don't remember what Aang says, but I love when Zhang Zhang's like, "You want to stop breathing?"
Yeah. He's like, "I've been breathing for hours. What, do you want to stop breathing?" That was funny.
Just a dad response.
Yeah.
Just like,
"And now, prepare to enter manual breathing mode."
"Oh,
everyone
you suck."
Dang it.
Crap.
Yeah.
All right.
In between there, just shows a quick shot of Zhao just on a boat coming up the river. He's coming. I just put Zhao coming.
Yeah, so. But like so when no, it wasn't this yet, because he tells him, Aang says, "I want you to stop wasting my time," and then Zhang Zhang tells him the story of like how he once had a pupil who didn't want to learn self-discipline,
right,
and he only wanted more power.
Yeah.
And then that's when you get like the close-up of Zhao as Zhang Zhang's still talking, and he's like, he only wanted like more power, more
right. And it doesn't say it yet, but it's implied by just the cuts that you're like, "Oh, it was him who was the student."
He was only concerned with the power of fire, how he could use it to destroy his opponents and wipe out the obstacles in his path. And without control, it destroys everything around it.
Right.
This was probably right here actually is the wisest thing I think I've heard in this entire episode, or like a lot of the episodes up until this point, is learn restraint or risk destroying yourself and everything you love.
Yeah.
Like,
that's pretty good.
Even not just fire, but like in anything you do, like
anything in life.
Yeah.
Moderation or restraint.
Moderation
discipline.
is key.
Right. Yeah. So then Zhang Zhang tells Aang to stand out on this little island thing and he's burning this leaf, and he says, "Okay, I started the fire here.
Oh.
Make sure that the fire doesn't get to the edge of the leaf here." So
one of the notes I had leading up to this was when Jong walks out of the tent, he sees Aang because Aang left the tent first.
Yeah.
After that story.
Yeah.
And like you see him meditating. Right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So what I thought was really cool, not just from like a story point, but like the way they animated it, was meditation is usually a point of like self-reflection, right? Mm-hmm. But the way they animated it, they literally see the reflection like on the water of Aang, like,
whoa, really?
Yeah, super like great.
Man,
I know.
There's like things I didn't even notice in this. Seriously, this episode is like a movie.
Because like even though it's animation, like the way they like pan essentially like the shot up is it's the reflection in the water of Aang up to his face.
Wow,
and he's like awesome. Just breathing calmly.
Wow. And
that's when John's like, all right, now we use fire.
Yeah, because I thought it was just because he was meditating, but we've seen Aang meditate before. But it's even the way it's shot.
I made a note. I was like, he's literally like reflecting
on himself. Yeah, that's cool. So then Aang sits there with the fire leaf, and Jong leaves because and then Aang's sitting there, and then he all of a sudden makes fire, and he's like, "I did it! I made fire!" And this
so impatient.
This scene was just so good. I mean, it's everything that Jong was talking about. That you need to have restraint, and thankfully, I mean, Aang learns that through this.
I thought it was super cool when he did the one little blast real quick by himself. Like he like ignites it, and then he's like, up into the air.
I didn't see that.
Oh, really?
He ignited it, then he went. He made it like bigger, and then he made it smaller again.
Because when Katara's like walking up, he like does it off into the distance.
Yeah.
And then like he's like, "How did that guy do the dragon thing?"
Yeah. So he does that, and then he's like, "Oh, how did he do it?" And he shoots the fire out in a big...
You missed the one in between that?
No, I saw he made the fire.
He made the fire.
And he made it big. Yeah.
Brought it down. And then like he does one like huge blast out.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, well I gotta...
1,000% sure. I watched this like 3 times last night.
Okay.
I tried to keep up with Dustin. Like I literally kept rewinding stuff. Holy crap, really?
We'll get into it. Alright, so then Aang shoots the fire out and it burns Katara, which you don't see where she's burned, but she burns her hands and Aang's out of control.
You see her like do
she's
this.
like this. Yeah. Which, man, the way she's crying and running away, it's like, jeez. She was really hurt, but like really hurt. Like, I don't know, that's crazy. So then she runs away. Sokka's ticked off at him, and then she runs away, and then she puts her hands in the water, and then because it feels good and soothing, and then all of a sudden she heals herself. She's like, "Oh," and the burns look pretty gnarly too on her, and then she all of a sudden healed herself.
Thinking back on it, like I don't think I've seen her actually get burned yet.
I don't think we've seen anyone get burned yet. Like obviously, Zuko has his scar, but we've never seen anyone get burned. But yeah. So she heals herself, and then this is when Jong comes up and says that
you have healing capabilities.
Yeah, you have healing capabilities. I think this is the first time we ever see healing capabilities of waterbenders, and you have healing capabilities. It's pretty rare or whatever. And then he's like, I always wished that I was a waterbender and I could heal instead of...
I've always wished I were blessed like you, free from this burning curse.
Yeah. Which, this little speech, that totally doesn't describe it, but he talks about how...
I've got the quote.
Yeah. Cool. Read it, because it's good.
Water brings healing, or first off, she's like, but you're a great master. You have powers that I'll never know. Which...
Right.
Later on, like, she's got stuff like nobody else can do.
Right, but she will never know how to do some of the stuff he does.
And he says, water brings healing and life, but fire brings only destruction and pain. It forces those of us burdened with its care to walk a razor's edge between humanity and savagery. Eventually, we're torn apart.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. You never think about how destructive fire... Because he talks about how fire... Or if you're an earthbender, you have to have a piece of earth, you move the piece of earth. Done.
Yeah.
With fire, you can start a fire, walk away, and that fire can go out of control and destroy everything. Like from a little tiny spark. So you have to have such control over a tiny the smallest little bit of bending that you do, you have to have absolute discipline. Which, whoa, that's exactly what he was trying to teach Aang. You have to have discipline for. I mean, it's crazy. Like you have to have so much more discipline to be a firebender.
And
than anything else.
The other thing about it is like I keep thinking about like the differences between Zhang and Iroh.
Yeah.
Because like Iroh doesn't have that like kind of like he has the discipline, but like he's so much more happy-go-lucky about it.
Right.
Like he doesn't have like the I guess he's not like as like dark and brooding about it.
Yeah. It's like anything. I mean, you could think about like driving, for instance. Like if some people just love driving and they're like, oh, this is so great, I got my fast car, I got whatever. Mm-hmm. Some people are like, no, 10 and 2 all the time, this is a dangerous weapon that I am driving. And it's like, okay, maybe you meet in the middle. You know, you can't be totally carefree, but you can't just freak out every time you have to get behind the wheel. But
which some people do, like
right? Yeah. So I don't know. It's interesting though to see it from that point of view, because I you don't think about it like that, but whoa, yeah.
Also, like you don't get that. None of the other elements bring that.
Right. There's not as much of a responsibility to the other elements.
Yeah.
There is a little bit, but nowhere near the.
Oh.
Yeah. So this just really opened my eyes about firebending, which again made this episode awesome.
I know, right?
So then. Katara's healed. Then this is when Zhao attacks, and I don't have a ton of notes on that, but it was a cool fight scene. Fire all over the place, air all over the place.
I absolutely loved this because
Yeah,
when he shows up, like, because he shows up to Katara and Zhang, right?
Yeah.
And Katara runs off to go like get the rest of the group and like leave, but then he leaves Zhang like by himself.
Yep.
Which surrounded. I actually paused this and counted 8 guys all around him. There were 8 soldiers surrounding him.
I thought there was 6.
Nope, because there was
3 benders and then there was 3 spear holders. I thought
so. There were 8 guys complete total around him. And I paused this because I had to count because there was one guy right in front of Zhao that I missed the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, because I was like, is it actually 6? Because I thought it was 6 originally too. But yeah, so there are 8 guys, and then they just firebend around him.
Yeah, and then he takes that fire and makes a big fireball and
disappears.
It was
the greatest trick.
And Zhao's just like, it's a trick. He's in the woods.
Don't fall for it.
He's like the dude who goes to the magicians to like just call them out on all their crap. Like, she's hiding behind the mirror. You ruined the fun, dude.
The box has a false bottom.
Yeah. I can see the wire. He's hiding a card behind his hand. Look up his sleeve.
He's got a fake thumb on.
He's got a fake thumb on.
You didn't know that?
No, I know. It would be funny to. Because I'm imagining Zhao saying all these things. That's why it's funny. He's got a fake thumb on, sir. He's gone.
Sir, can you please leave? This is a birthday party. He's the rowdy uncle drinking gin and tonics in the back corner, just like, ah!
I used to do this back when I was a kid. Let me show you some real magic. Get over here. You got $1?
Who's got a quarter?
I got your nose.
Jeez.
Oh gosh. All right. So then
Aang shows up.
He's running towards him for a little while.
Oh, sorry. We missed the coolest part that John does before this.
The fire.
The huge wall of fire.
Yeah.
Like, blocking off on a river.
Yeah.
Like, just giant line of fire across the river.
So he shoots it up, and he has to be maintaining it somehow. But he's just casually just standing there. And it's like, oh my gosh. I don't know. Just
concentrated breathing.
Right, exactly. So then Aang comes up. Zhao attacks. Just fireball after fireball. Everything. Aang's deflecting with air.
Yep.
Jumps down with one finger and just all this different stuff. And then he realizes that Zhao was the student that Zhang was talking about. And then
because Zhao says something about that.
Yeah. Then he realizes you have to have restraint or learning discipline, and then he thinks like, what does he say? He's like out of control or something like that.
No self-control.
No self-control. And then he looks at his boats and he thinks, oh, I'll just stand on his boats and let him destroy everything, which is a really good move. But I did put in there like, so they're doing this fight. It's really cool, all this stuff, and then Admiral Zhao destroys all his own boats because he's just trying to kill.
Oh my goodness!
And then, which is a really cool little twist. But then, if you think about it for a second, why the heck would the Fire Nation have wooden boats? Or did they just steal them, or what? Maybe they just took them. They commandeered them from.
I wonder if they're just better for like rivers like that.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they. Have
or do they learn from this, and that's why like later on, you see like
there's steel boats that Zuko's
actual ships.
Yeah,
those are like not river boats.
Right, yeah, that's true. But anyways, either way, he destroys his own boats, and then they escape.
Which that airbending from Aang, like when he just like literally jumps up and like literally like looks like he's flying just right there.
Oh yeah.
At the bow of the ship. I had to think about the word. And he's like, "You've already lost this battle." What?
Yeah. And then later on, it like as they're flying away, it cuts back to him, and he's just like seething at his boat. I like when Aang first goes out. He's like, "You've already lost this battle," and he goes away. And Admiral Zhao's on his boat, and it just cuts really far away, and it's just like it's not an explosion. It's just like a. Ah!
Oh yeah, he's just so angry.
It burns them all again. Yeah. So, then the one other thing after the team escapes, then Che. He comes back to the to the group, and he's like, "Oh, I'm back at camp. Where is everybody?" Yeah, they just left without him.
I like how you just got escape here. After is that
escape?
But what is that?
Why made of wood?
Zhao.
Yeah, that's how I spelled it. I didn't know how to spell it. I didn't look it up.
No. So. Before the credits start rolling, you get to see Aang apologizing to Katara.
Oh, that's right.
On Appa. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And she
I'm healed. And he's like, "What?"
As soon as like the water falls, he's like, "Wow, that's good water."
Yeah. Well, he's like excited that she's healed because he's like, "All right, I did hurt you. At least you're better." And then she's like, "Oh, you're burned," and I don't know. It's just really cool.
And then Sokka's like, "What? How long
have
you
had
known
healing powers this whole time?
How long have you known about this?" She's like, "Well, I guess it's just always been with me." He's like, "Oh, well, thanks for all the times that you could have healed me in the past." Like the fish hook thing.
The comic, really. Yeah.
How do you get two fish hooks in your hand? He tried to take the first fish hook out with another fish hook.
Which I think we've all been there. Like, not
use something dangerous to get the first dangerous thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I dropped a fork in the toaster. I think I can get it with this knife.
Exactly. All right. So there wasn't any animals, but this is when, at the very end there, Sokka's like, he talks about a mink snake. Have we seen those before?
No.
Because he's like, got bit by a mink snake or something. I'm like, a mink snake? That sounds interesting. So other than that, I didn't really see any animals.
No, I specifically made a note. There's not besides Appa and Momo.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
Like, I thought it was really weird. There's a million wise sayings in this episode, so I mean, like, take your pick.
There's a lot, yeah. As far as bending numbers, so now this is where it gets interesting. There was 4 times I counted water bending. 2 of them, so one where she's just like practicing in the background. The second time is when she heals herself. Mm-hmm. And then the 3rd and 4th time is when she takes the water out of her pouch to heal Aang, and then she heals him. So
I would say it's 2 separate things because like later on you do learn that healing is its own type of waterbending.
Oh, okay.
Because
that's what I counted it as. I was just like, because it's all in the same instance.
No, yeah.
So I'm like, is it all the same thing? But yeah, that makes sense. So I did count. So there's 4 of those. 0 of earthbending, even though we're in the Earth Kingdom. Just Earth has a lot of catching up to do. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, I mean, the entire second season is the Book of Earth.
Right.
Like, you're going to see, hopefully it's going to catch way up.
And the few Earth episodes we have had, like with Boomy and stuff, it was like astronomical. How many times? There's like 60-something in one
because, I mean, like, you have...
It's like every little thing is,
Yeah, they use earthbending for literally everything.
Yeah. So, I'm going to skip fire for now, but air, there was for sure 12 times that he air bent. There was one that I was kind of iffy about when he's fighting Zhao and he jumps up on the ship. It makes the noise and his clothes like poof up, like he's airbending, but then Zhao makes the exact same jump. But I just attribute that, I mean, it made the sound, he was airbending. It's just like, if you could fly, or if you could teleport, I could just teleport over to that couch right there.
Yeah.
And someone could do this. He's just using his power, but he didn't have to airbend to make that jump, which was kind of weird.
Okay.
Firebending. All right.
You have 4 numbers here.
3 numbers. So there's one main number. Then there's one instance where Avatar Roku in that little dream thing firebends.
Oh,
which
I would count that.
Okay, that's because it's a person airbending.
Well, because Dustin and I were going over this at your daughter's birthday party, where so there's a number of different uses for the Avatar state, and this is a kind of a reactive version of it.
Okay.
So like you take on like the current Avatar essentially takes on the form of a previous Avatar.
Sure. And
it's for a very limited time, so it is still them doing things.
Okay.
But they're just not fully aware of what they're doing.
Okay, but it was in like a dream state, and there was a candelabra or something.
Yep.
And that wasn't in the physical world.
Nope.
I don't think so. Anyway.
But it's like you can still bend in the spirit world.
Then the other 3 that I have here are when Aang was doing his little practicing, and I put adding to firebending because he has the leaf, which was already bent. Then he went that was 1, and then he went like big, but it was still the same fire, but he was controlling it the whole time. So I'm like, because he's controlling it the whole time, he's technically bending the whole time, no matter what he does with it. So part of me is like, ever from when that fire on the leaf blows up to when he burns Katara is all 1. But I counted it as separate ones. But I'm like, is it all 1 or is he adding, because he's adding to it? Is it a separate
no, that's.
I'm trying to, because that'll make it hard also in the later seasons where
definitely
he's like, where someone's earth bending or water bending and they're just constantly like using the same whip for like 20 minutes. It's like, okay. It's like,
I would think any alteration to any current fire, because like a lot of firebenders do that.
Right.
Because like you see Zhang and Iroh both do it where like they
which
reduce
earlier
a fire.
Again, this is super nitpicky and it's just my rules of how I'm counting this, but earlier in the episode when the magician shoots the dragon out, the dragon's flying up, that's all one instance of bending. Then he lassos it. Then he lassos it. That's a separate one. That I counted. So anyways, if you add up all the times that Aang changes the state of the fire, then there's 4 now. I added the other one, but there'd be 4 because I didn't see the one from a distance that he shot away. Then the fireballs. So it took me a long time because when Admiral Zhao is coming up on Zhang and Katara, they just they're like launching fireballs.
Oh yeah.
Each one of those is technically a firebending thing.
Yep.
But we didn't count those because we don't see them firebending when that one episode where Appa was up in the clouds and you see all those billions of fireballs come up. So I didn't count them then.
Because you don't actually witness the actual bending on the screen.
You just see the fireball coming up.
Huh.
So I put those in a separate category. So anyways, all this to say, there's 42 if you be very, very strict. There's 46.
So why do you have 46 then?
Because I added the ones from Aang. That should be there, not here.
Okay.
I added the ones from Aang. So there's 42 if you're really strict and you also count Roku. Then there's 46 if you're really strict, you count Roku and you count all the times that Aang added to his bending.
Yep.
Then there's 65 if you count all the fireballs, which took me a long time to pause play to count all the fireballs.
Since you don't actually see these ones on
That's
screen,
what I was thinking. That's
I would
why
say 46.
That one.
I think 40. Yeah.
That's
anything that
thinking.
happens on screen,
right?
We would mark. Or
that's what I was thinking. I just wanted to reiterate. So,
no, we're good.
So that's why I put 46 now because we changed. Okay, cool. So 4 water, 0 earth, 46 fire, and 12 air. So that's the final
Very nice
count. Sorry for the
no. I like
pedantic things, but it's interesting to think about.
This is what part of being nerds is all about.
Yeah, exactly. And defining the rules of some arbitrary
right
counting thing. It's gonna get so hard in the future. Every episode, I'm like, I'm done. I can't do it after this. And then the next episode, I'm like, well, I can just do one more. All right, I'll just do one more.
Oh, I guess
it's like stressful to watch it. You have to either watch it 2 times all the way through to kind of get a story and then count, or just pause it a million times. But anyways, so what do we want to rate this episode?
I personally gave this one an 8.7. Like, I thought it was super good.
That's what you rated it.
Yep.
Before you even saw
what the rating online was.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You don't want to justify anything. You're just like.
I mean, like, it's like, so you get like, I think you get everything about this episode, or about like what makes the series great in this episode. Like, there's, you know, a bit of action, like not as much as like future episodes. So I mean, like, there's obviously like better, you know.
Yeah.
But like, there's so much character growth on like Aang entirely. Yeah. Katara learns a bit. Right. Sokka kind of is just
he's
like
just
himself,
the comic relief in the background,
which is barely even there this episode.
Right, he's barely there, so it doesn't matter. He's just a side character,
and I think that's why like I wanted to go with an 8.7, because like you don't see like a ton of like comic relief for this episode, but like it's such a wise and like
it's a deep
character driven.
It really expands the universe.
Oh,
like,
absolutely!
It makes you think logically, and as much as Dustin doesn't like it, realistically about, okay, what does it mean to be a firebender? Not just in the fictional TV show, but if you could actually have that power, what would it mean? And
not just that. So like, because you also get like, you get first instances of people who can't, like, who you don't have to work for the Fire Nation,
right? Like,
it's a choice.
Yeah, there's at least 2 deserters that we know of.
Yeah. And like, who are totally willing to help the Avatar, which is the crazy part.
Yeah. Like,
they're like, yeah, this is pointless. I don't understand why we can't.
Right. Yeah. I would give it an A, honestly, as a episode.
I was like, I need a number, man.
No, I know. So based off that, I wouldn't give it a huge jump, but it's perfect story, beginning, middle, end, all the way through. People grow, like you said. Even the enemy grows. He's like, oh, I can't just shoot fireballs on my own ships.
That's the other thing. You get so much backstory for like everything.
Yeah, you get. There's just a lot to it, and it's not so much like the Storm that I didn't like at first, and then liked a lot more when we talked about it. Because that one's just all like exposition, and it just describes what happened in the past. And you understand a lot that happens, but this one is kind of the same, but you live through it with them. So I would rate this a lot higher. I don't remember what we rated the Storm, but I would say this is like a 9.2. Like,
wow,
like a low A. It's pretty good. I mean, if Sokka had a bunch of things to do or character development, and if it was like a little B plot side story or something like in there somehow, it would be like a perfect episode in my opinion. But yeah, I would say 9.2. So that would be probably a 8.9, something like that. We'll say that.
Something like that.
Yeah. Sherman, you want to take us out?
Oh yeah, I was like, how does Dustin usually do this? If you want to become a Fandom Knight, join us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I think Dustin is.
Yes.
We still haven't figured out a TikTok yet, so. But yeah, check us out, comment, subscribe. We love to hear you guys' input. And as always, Appa.
Yep.